The following podcast contains spoilers and nerdy banter. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the very first Sketchcast episode in May. It is a surprisingly mild day outside. Yesterday was roasting hot, but otherwise it's been a pretty decent start. But today's episode is going to be a little different than usual. Instead of interviewing someone, I'm rather just going to be talking about a movie with a couple of peers. Those peers are animators Rachel Polito and Lakeisha Felton. What's up, guys?
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
I'm
Doing good.
Nice.
Zoom in its predictability on people talking. Oh boy.
Yeah, Zoom's predictability is all over the place, but we're going to work with that. Either that this is my OCD or ADD or whatever, but I believe the sun just came out and now it's gone.
Yeah, near me it's been raining all day, like on and off.
Yeah, it hasn't rained in Baltimore yet. Hopefully by the time this ends, it will. But the rain will not stop us from talking about a very special movie. That movie is the new film from Sony Pictures Animation that was released on Netflix a few days ago, The Mitchells versus the Machines, which at one point was called Connected, and it would have come out last year had the pandemic not happened. And really, it would have just come out at the beginning of the school year rather than like towards the end. But hey, better to have it now than later, right?
Yeah.
So with that all said, before we get things started, we might go into spoilers. So if anyone hasn't seen The Mitchells versus the Machines yet, by all means, give it a watch first before you listen to this. But either way, we're just going to like shoot the crap on our opinions, so on and so forth. So what'd you two think of it?
I love the film. Like at first I was kind of skeptical because I saw like the art style and I was like, okay, is this going to be like your corporate, art style that you see in some like crappy 3D movie? I know this is a very bold statement, but like I think about Illumination stuff and I'm just I can't do it. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
Well, the funny thing is the studio behind it, Sony Pictures Animation, like they did beforehand, like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, the Hotel Transylvania movies, even Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. They've really been pushing the sort of stylized cartoony animation in computers, which debatably started with studios like Blue Sky and like even DreamWorks when they were making the Madagascar movies. But I think they've been pushing that a lot further than other studios. They do it in a way where it feels like it could be done either in 3D or 2D, and yet they mostly make it work. I think this is one of their more successful attempts at it, because like nothing against the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs movies by any means, but I feel like those designs don't quite translate into computers quite as much.
Yeah, this movie I think was a really good, I don't know if I'm calling it evolution or culmination of all the skills I guess they've gotten through, the animation of Cloudy and Chance of Meatballs, Hotel Transylvania, and the Spider-Verse. Because you got the really good 2D elements, like look of it in this movie that they worked with in the Spider-Verse. And I am very biased towards 2D animation. I love 2D animation. And then you have the amazing use of the squash and stretch and model manipulation they did when they worked on the Meatball movie and the Transylvania movie. You could tell it's 3D, but it still has this 2D look to it where the textures and everything look like the 2D cartoon, which I really love about it.
Yeah. It also helps that, in addition to like the character animation, given that the film is like somewhat of a commentary on what could happen if we take technology for granted, like they really play up the technology aspects. And a lot less annoyingly than another movie they made a few years ago. Not going to name the name, but either way though, like what they sort of like executed here, especially the film's villain, what was the villain's name? Pal or something?
Pal, yeah, I think it was named after the app.
Yeah. What did it stand for? I don't remember.
It's kind of funny. Like the whole PAL logo looks like the IHOP logo, which I thought was really cute.
The roundness of it. Yeah, now that you mention it, it totally does.
Yeah, surprisingly. And like, given that like, obviously she's voiced by a British woman, Olivia Colman, I think. It's like, oh great, another movie villain who's British. What is a surprise,
Mm-hmm. I really like the voice actor who played our main character. I don't know the voice actor.
Oh, you're referring to one of the Mitchells, right?
Yes, the girl, our main character.
Oh, Katie, yeah. Funny enough, like a shout out to Abby Jacobson because she's actually a MICA alum. So bravo. It's funny that you actually bring up Katie because like, okay, before we get into Katie, I guess we haven't like said what the film's like actually about. basically the general premise is like every family road comedy mixed in with a crazy commentary of social media taking over the world, literally taking over the world.
I was gonna say, I actually really like how they handle the story, because usually stories that handle the technology is bad and social media is bad kind of thing, it usually just straight out says it like no compromise, technology is bad.
Yeah.
Where I guess spoilers, for the end, that it's less technology is strictly bad and more you need to balance your social media technology life with your family life.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I think of the dad at the end when he's spoilers, I think we already said that, but
Yeah.
At the end when the dad's watching the daughter's video, finally, he's somewhere like, I guess technology isn't all bad if it allowed my daughter to make this, which I thought was really sweet.
Yeah. We can't all be bad, Dad. I'm referring to my dad. Computer animation is the way of the future, Dad, and you have to fucking acknowledge it.
I agree with that, because like a lot of the social media world takeover, or just like end of the world genres, they tend to be like super serious. And it was kind of nice to see like this very lighthearted story. And it kind of goes with the whole animation style of it not being taken too seriously. So I thought that was really great that the movie like kind of like explored that, but just in a lighter tone.
Yeah, and what's funny too, I've mentioned this before. I was telling it to my friend Luke Perkins. What's up, dude? Hope you're having a good day. He loves this movie, by the way. Like, I just remember him like every 5 minutes or so while he was watching it, he would pause it just to like crack up laughing to me. I'm like, dude, that's cool, but I gotta keep working, you know? But the brother in the movie, Aaron, who I very much related to, like, I swear to God, Aaron must be autistic in a good way. And his relationship with Katie, I think, is actually one of the more positive relationships between siblings in movies. Usually, when you think of like brother-sister relationships, they're either like rivals or just they hate each other. It's so toxic. And yet here, like, Katie's very so supportive of her brother, like, especially that in the movie when he's like, because he has a crush on their neighbor's daughter, but the whole time he's just like, no, but Katie's telling him, hey, don't hold back your feelings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the little brother and the relationship that they have. Like you said, usually, like, any movie that comes out, it's like the brother and sister absolutely hate each other and would definitely kill each other if the cameras are turned off. But no, I guess it's my personal experience with my sister. It reminded me of us. It's like, you know, we love each other, we'll do anything for each other, but we'll still be giving each other crap.
Yeah, the family still gives each other a lot of crap in the movie, but they still love each other.
Yeah, it's balanced crap, though.
Yeah, but like, regardless, I think that's kind of the other thing too. I think, it's so common to see dysfunctional families in animation, especially like adult animated sitcoms and all that. But to be honest, a lot of them are kind of just like a little too mean-spirited for their own good. I'm not going to give any specific examples, but like, here the Mitchells are kind of like a good mix between that and how an actual family would interact, especially in a world-destroying scenario just like this.
Yeah, that's what I liked about this movie too. Like, I noticed in a lot of kids media, they'll take one aspect of someone's personality and turn it up to 11, and then it's like, oh god, no, it's too much. This one balances out very well of the main aspect of each character, but it doesn't like overhaul it. Like, the main conflict between like Katie and her dad is that she's full on like, I want to do art and film. And then the conversation they're having beginning with the dad was just, do you have a plan B? This might not work out for you. It's a healthy mix between like, I really want to follow my dream. Like, the dad isn't too much of an ass about it. It may sound like assholish to a kid who wants to be like, this is what I want to do. You can't stop me, which is a good mindset to have when you want to follow your dream. But also the dad's like the good reality check of, you might want to have a backup plan just in case. And I think it balances that pretty well.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, like, I don't know if y'all can relate to that with all of us being artists necessarily, but like, I mean, I don't think my parents were against it or anything. If anything, they were hella supportive. They weren't like the passive aggressive mom or the overbearing dad in this movie or anything. But I don't know, you guys probably have different experiences.
Yeah, with my dad, the plan B is more, because I want to go specifically into like cartoon animation and stuff like that. My dad's plan B for me was do anything else art related just in case, which is a good thing to have. Like, it's
not
still,
wrong.
he's still supportive, like, of that, but then it's also like overwhelming of like, oh god, I have to learn everything now.
My parents were very supportive. I think they just found a talent in me and they were just like, well, this is a talent. We're gonna actually help her with this. So yeah, my parents were very supportive.
As they should be.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. But going back to the movie, like I thought it was kind of interesting how like it kind of feels like it's like set in a time that we all kind of know. Like it gives me kind of like Juno vibes. Like I don't know if you guys remember that movie.
Yeah. I must say, I'm probably the only person on earth who has never seen it.
I've
You need
probably
to see
seen
Juno.
I've probably seen clips from it. I just can't. I'm a very visual person. If you tell me the name of somebody or you tell me a name of a movie, I will not know it until I've seen a picture of it.
Citizen Kane.
Well, it's like a really good movie. It's like kind of like early 2000s vibes and everything.
Right.
And since it gives me that vibe, it kind of feels like the characters are very complex because I think about movies like that and how the characters have undertones. They have like certain things that their wants and their needs, and you can see that on screen. And I really appreciate that about this movie is that we get to see like every aspect of this character and even stuff before. Like we get to see those subtleties, if that makes any sense. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. There's just little details in there that we don't quite see. Like I brought up Aaron earlier, who like coincidentally enough is voiced by the film's director Mike Rianda, which is like makes it even funnier. But like just him being like super into dinosaurs, but also being a stickler for them to look accurate is just the cherry on top.
I don't know who was the writer of the movie. I did not look this up, but
The director co-wrote the movie.
their comedy skills are very good. A lot of movies have a tendency to do a joke for too long. Like the joke lasts too long and they put it in too much in the movie, like throughout the movie. This movie does a very good job of timing the comedy right and ending it when it should.
And they do like admittedly repeat like I guess some gags, mostly like the sort of internet relatability meme gags. But I think some of the better humor, in addition to like the family banter and all that, are actually when they kind of like parodies to certain movie tropes, like when they're just walking outside the fire-covered mall. It's just as you said, the timing there just works really well.
Yeah. Also with like the 2D graphic memes that they put in, I have to watch the movie again. I only had time to watch it once. But is there a connection between like I guess story beat wise where only when Katie's like on screen she's like the main part that the graphics show up, and I think at the end they just show up everywhere with everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's to like express how chaotic the whole situation is. But I just love how they're just PNG cutouts. Like,
Yeah.
really...
Yeah, because I'm not sure if that's true. That's like a thing that came to my mind at the end. Like you see a lot more of the graphics at the end. In my mind, that was kind of her like now that her family like accepts what she's doing, so now she can go out and apply her skills to all of them.
Yeah, that part too is quite humorous. But I think another bit that also like kind of stuck with me in that case was not sure if y'all felt this too, but like the inventor guy who was voiced by Eric Andre, the one who like throughout did the original PAL phone. Out of all the like sort of inventor people who like fuck shit up in movies, he's probably one of the few who's like it's a case of character development actually working out with someone and realizing, you know what, I really fucked this shit up. I don't know if we get a lot of inventors in movies like that quite as much. I mean, outside of like, again, another Sony animation film, Flint Lockwood from Clyde with a Chance of Meatballs. He's not like Flint, obviously, but I do like those little bits of like, oh shit, this was a really bad idea, you know? And even at his most pompous, he's still like, wow, I fucked up, you know?
Yeah, like oops.
Yeah, I don't remember his name though.
Speaking of the voice cast, I was like really surprised of how many like A-list celebrities they got, and I was just like really happy to see it.
Like, wait. Hold on, Lakeisha. This is a mainstream animated feature produced by a major studio.
Okay, so at first I didn't know it was made by Sony. I was like, wait, is this made by Illumination? Because you sent me the link and I was like, oh, this is Illumination. But then I saw Sony pop up and I was so happy.
Yeah. I will admit, when I first saw the design of the dad, for some reason in my mind, my brain immediately said the voice actor is Seth Rogen. I don't know why. The dad
he actually does look a little like Seth Rogen.
Yeah, like this was even like before I've seen any of the trailers. It was just like the still image I saw of him. Like the voice actor's gonna be Seth Rogen, and like I didn't look up like any of the voice actors before I watched the movie. And since my brain was so wired, I'm like, this kind of sounds like Seth Rogen. But why does it sound weird? Is he doing like a weird higher voice or something? And then I finally looked it up. The voice actor was Danny McBride. I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense now.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm not familiar with a lot of roles from Danny McBride. So his, like, you know, a lot of animated movies with, you know, A-list actors, you'll kind of know their shtick. I'm not familiar with Danny McBride, so, like, you know, his stuff didn't bother me. If anything, he was, like, still really funny in the movie. The Rick Mitchell special, right?
Oh, I love that graphic for that where it shows up. Like, again, that's like a good example of good comedy and then it means something. Like they show it in the beginning, it's like, oh, cute little thing, and then you show it later when Katie does it. It's like, oh, she actually learned from her dad.
Yeah, Chekhov's gun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and in addition, you know, you mentioned like the actors. I think like Maya Rudolph as the mom is also really good casting. Like not just that she played a lot of moms in movies, but like she has those like comedic chops that just work so well. Especially when the mom just snaps at the end.
That is my favorite scene because I crave violence. I just love like I know that sounds weird, but violence or like any like not violence, just any fight scene in animation, if it's done well, it looks very good. Fight scenes are just an amalgamation of the squash and stretch and timing and stuff like that. A lot of the kids movies that imply violence, they kind of like really censor it. Whereas this one, it's like you fully see them all like crushing the robots and all like the oil bloods like spilling on the screen in front of the kid, and the kid just
it's like the Samurai Jackson syndrome, having your cake and eating it too, but at least it's okay with robots, right? Not fucking humans.
And then Jack said, you know what, we're gonna go to Adult Swim, now we can really do what we want.
Yeah, that too.
I like the shots too, like the shots
shot composition was cool.
Yeah, like I love how they have it where it's like every part is moving. Like there's explosions. Lily, her face is constantly like moving, even if it's just like a little bit. Like even if it's just her breathing heavy, they showed that movement. It just makes everything go 10 times faster and makes the fight scene even more epic.
Especially when you consider that, you know, with Katie being an aspiring filmmaker, she obviously like shoots a good chunk of the stuff that's happening on her camera. And the funny thing too is that Sony did like, you know, years ago, Surf's Up, which was a mockumentary style film, like shot like a documentary. That was super cool. But like here, it's just like full blown filmmakers doing their thing.
If I'm remembering correctly, I think even when it's not Katie directly filming, I think the camera still isn't always still. Like, I don't think the camera's, like, ever still. Even when Katie's not filming, it always has a little shake to it.
Right.
The whole movie, I think, just feels more lively just because of, like, all the animation they did. Like, everyone is constantly moving, whether it's breathing or just, like, doing fidgety things or the camera moving. It feels much more, like, alive, I think.
Definitely. There's not a lot of movies, I feel now, like, let alone animated movies, where they really play up the cinematography quite as much. And so, yeah, like, this came out as, like, a massive, like, shock, so to speak, like in a good way too. Just the little details of like, you know, shaky cam and like, you know, a good shaky cam too, not like Michael Bay or something like that.
And plus the camera is always panning. Like it's always panning to the right or the left or panning like or zooming in or zooming out. Like there's always that constant movement of the camera.
Yeah, it's like a playground, so to speak.
Yeah. Like, if you were to take any just, like, still shot from that movie, there is not a dull frame, or color-wise, or just setup-wise, there is not a dull moment in that movie. It is very well cinemized. I don't know how you say it, but it's very well filmed.
There's also never a dull expression. Like, you know, I've said it on Twitter before, but like, Lindsay Olivares, the character design she did on the film, fantastic. Obviously, that's like from the animators plussing that, but just, you know, the designs just complement everything that you see in terms of how the characters act. I mentioned this before. This is going to sound so weird. The rival family, who are they? Like the Houstons or something?
The Posers? Somewhere it was
Posies?
Like
the Posies, yeah. I don't know how young the mom and dad there are compared to like, you know, the Mitchells, but I swear to God, like they must really work out, you know?
I thought it was kind of funny how it was voiced by Chrissy Teigen and John Legend because they're kind of like the perfect family. Like we get promoted for them because they're kind of like the it family, you know?
Also, if anyone listening still has a crush on John Legend or Chrissy Teigen, just watch the movie, you know?
I don't know if you guys share the same opinion I do, but the Poser family, I think that's their last name.
Posing posies, right?
Yeah, they kind of look more stylized from either like Pixar or Disney. So
Yeah.
like what I'm thinking is, I don't know.
I
It
feel
kind of like
like
plays off the joke of like these are because with Pixar or Disney they're more of like the realistic style, the very
Right.
pretty and polished.
yeah.
And I
Right.
think that's kind of what that whole family's gimmick, and that it kind of reminds me of those studio stylizer things. Whereas their hair is very frizzy, you can see like strands going everywhere. They have very like
Right.
stylized, and cartoonish look to them.
Kind of like how the Incredibles or Ratatouille has more like realistic yet stylized humans, whereas like most of the characters in the movie are just stylized humans, you know?
I feel like the Mitchells have way more detail in them. They have freckles. They have literally like strokes of paint, like, I don't know, different strokes to kind of illustrate like their different facial features, which I feel like was expressed in the previous Sony film, Spider-Verse, where they just used different strokes to kind of express the face or make the face even more detailed. But then with the Posleys, it's just very much matte. It's like very matte, simple colors. They practically just wear white. Like, they don't wear all these different colors. So, yeah.
Yeah, that part's really cool too. I think, like, you know, you mentioned colors. I think most of the colors in the movie are really good in their own right. Plus, mad props to the art directors and all that. But the contrast between like the more realistic world and like the not cyberpunk, but like the sci-fi world with all the robots and stuff, like that's a really cool contrast because that's where it gets like very bleak and gray, but nowhere near as bleak and gray as most movies nowadays. This is going to sound like a massive vent, but the colors, way more, like even at their most bleak, way more interesting to look at than most movies where it's just like, oh my God, this is so depressing looking.
Whoever did the color concept for this movie, amazing job. Like there are bleak moments in the movie, but like they're very well contrasted with hopeful moments come in.
Yeah.
Like I think the specific scene I'm thinking of is when they're at the mall when Katie has the idea and she's all gung ho and the dad isn't too excited about it. But I remember like in the mall scene when she starts doubting herself, she's against the dark store in the background, and even when it like shows her and her dad like in the same frame, she's all shrouded in darkness and he's all in the light, and then like he reaches his hand out to her, like his hand is all in the light and hers is all in the dark. So I thought that was really good cinematography.
I like the colors for the PAL labs after the takeover. I love how everything was very neon, kind of adding this very cold aspect to, like, I guess the PAL labs. But also I loved how PAL herself was very, you know, it was blue. She was like this very bright blue, kind of making her like the centerpiece of everything, which is really cool.
Yeah, I think like even based on that too, like when, the little bits when PAL like sort of glitches too, like it's not as like chaotic as Spider-Verse's glitches and all that, but like it kind of shows just how mad she has become with power, even if she can't get every robot, like the two robots in the movie who, you know, kind of ate the Mitchells for the most part. But that kind of just shows like how how humans can like accidentally fuck over technology. Technology can accidentally fuck over itself, you know?
Yeah, it's like technology can destroy us, but it's the humans that are letting it.
Yeah, that too. Another really cool addition to the movie is the score by, not sure if you two even know his name, Mark Mothersbaugh, who's probably most well known for REO Speedwagon or Devo or something. But, you know, he's done a lot of music for I think he did the music for Rugrats and Regular Show and a bunch of other stuff. But he also like did this for other movies like Happy Gilmore, the Rugrats movie, the Hotel Transylvania movies, and I think even Clyde with Chance of Meatballs, funny enough. Like his score in the film is also very appropriate given the scenes. Like he really knows how to raise the stakes.
Everything designed in this movies are very well designed. Also, Sony, I saw you plugging in your own your own products with the Sony camera and the Sony headphones.
Yeah, isn't there like a Sony product placement in Spider-Verse?
Probably. I haven't watched it recently enough to remember.
I wouldn't be surprised.
But those are like the first things I saw, just like the Sony camera right in the front, Sony just like on the front, like I guess.
It's gotta happen, right? But yeah. So that being said, I do get where someone might criticize the film conceptually because, you know, the film does have some plot points like, oh, the daughter and dad's like, oh, the liar revealed bit or whatever, which I can definitely agree with that, especially towards the end. But that being said, again, one thing that does save it, in addition to the twist, is that here, I think the relationship between Katie and her dad, Rick, is like, it's just so much more like understandable, even if Katie can be a little harsh at times. I think when you've been with a weird family like that your whole life, you're just going to want to get away from them until you really start to spend a little more time with them. You start to try to connect with them more, right?
Yeah.
In terms of like conceptually, I have like seen some arguments that this film did queerbait a lot, or queerbait at the end, and then also that it was kind of like lied about films or something like that. I saw those two arguments, which I thought was
not
really
gonna lie,
interesting.
they kind of did lie about film school a little bit.
In terms of like film school, I feel like, yeah, it kind of hyped up film school, like, oh, you can submit and get in, you can do it.
Yeah, it's not that easy,
It's not.
Like,
From what we know, she only applied to one school. It's like, Jesus, what are you doing?
why didn't you apply to CalArts?
Oh my god, everything's CalArts. Everything is CalArts. Can we talk about the defective robots? They were like my favorite characters.
Oh, sure. What were their names again?
I don't know.
Deborah,
Deborah?
and Eric?
Deborah and Eric. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember
Yes.
the joke with Eric, like, I'm Eric. I'm also Eric.
And then they were like, you can't have two names. Oh, I'm Deborah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So Deborah and Eric, even though they're both voiced by guys, but those robots were like, again, they probably didn't need to be there necessarily, but they added some nice comedic leverage.
I liked them at the end, especially when I think it was Deborah. He was just like purr, and I was just like, this is iconic.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love at the end where, like, the daughter, like, seemed, like, to be dead. And the robot's just like, what is death? And it's just like, it says that pause, like darkness and slow zoom in.
And that's what I
man.
mean. This movie doesn't take itself too seriously, which is so nice.
Yeah, it's a good blend between like serious moments here and there, but even when it's at its most seriousness, it's not drab, Like it knows, even at its most emotional, it knows not to go too far and knows when to have a good time. Especially at the end when the mom snaps and the dad finally gets technology.
Like,
There's
at
that.
the end where it's like, oh, I sent you a friend request or something like that, and it cuts to him freaking out on the computer, and it's like, oh no, it wasn't that bad.
I was gonna say that scene has been blowing up on Twitter lately. It's been like a rectified meme now.
I love it. He's trying.
I can't do it.
But I mean, it just shows how like relatable this movie is, not just for the young audience that it's probably geared towards, but also for older people. And I feel like that's what makes this movie really good, is that it's for all ages versus just one specific age of like
Right.
8-year-olds.
Yeah, like this is a
Everybody's
very
great,
good family movie.
Yeah.
Like a family wanted to take their kids out and watch a movie that they could all enjoy together and be lighthearted. This is the movie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When I was watching this, I was like, why am I not watching this in theaters? Like, I was like, I love Netflix, but I feel like I should be watching this on a big screen.
Well, that's the thing. It has been released in select theaters, but with pandemic terms, select theaters kind of like going to a freaking ball game at this point or something,
Yeah.
But even when I was watching it, I kind of wish I was in a theater too, but that's just out of like having seen Spider-Verse on the big screen,
Yeah.
I gotta say this. Every year there's at least one animated movie that everyone raves about. 2018 it was Spider-Verse. 2019 it was Klaus. 2020, if not Soul, then Wolfwalkers. And this year so far, it seems to be Mitchell's. And it's not even like, the end of the year yet, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about this increase in like 3D animation? I guess for us in America, 3D animation is kind of like taking these very Oscar-winning roles or Oscar-winning like selections in terms of animation.
Right.
How do you guys feel about that?
Me personally, I have a hard on for 2D animation. I'm sorry. I prefer it anytime over 3D animation. But I'm sorry, but it's not that I don't like 3D animation, but there's something just so organic and so much, I guess, more character-wise you can do versus what like Disney does with their 2D animation. There's so much more character-wise you can do with 2D. But this movie does a very good job of blending 2D and 3D and all the stuff you can do in 2D that they brought over to 3D. like the progression was like 2D and now it's okay all 3D, but now a lot more animations are going into the blend of using like 3D models but making it look 2D. There's an anime, Dorohedoro, that does this. It's really good, but the only thing, they still stick to the rigid 2D model. They don't do any squash and stretch or any like 2D effects like movement lines or anything like that. But the Mitchells does this and I really appreciate it, and you know, it brings back my love of 2D into this 3D movie.
And
Yeah.
also they incorporate stop motion aspects as well. So they kind of just combined all animations together.
Yeah.
All animation styles together.
There's 2D bits in it as well that are really cool looking. I kind of wish more movies nowadays did that. Like, not all, obviously, but like have your main set forth primary animation style and just add in some experimental bits here and there. Not only do not enough movies do that now, but I feel like not doing that enough, because I feel like this movie is made for animation. If it was live action, it's like wouldn't look as convincing. Just having it fully animated just makes it that much more convincing, you know?
Agreed.
This is like a animation film love letter.
Yeah, much.
It has getting into DC nerdom, but it's like the 3 boxes of stop motion 3D and 2D have all been combined into the unity of this movie.
Yeah, if only there was a cameo of Spider-Man in the movie, right?
Just add in a Spider-Man sticker somewhere.
Somewhere.
need.
You know what? Katie has the little Pride sticker. Well, why doesn't she also have a Spider-Man sticker, right?
I
Yeah.
didn't notice that she does.
Yeah, it's literally all throughout the movie. You just gotta notice it. That's another thing too. Like Katie being queer, you wouldn't have thought that otherwise. Like, you know, she's obviously like a well-developed character first and foremost, and that's just the added layer on top. But then again, some like old conservative is probably gonna type in the comments, "How dare they show representation?" Brr. It's like, nah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think the way representation should be, it's not like, don't put LED light or don't put spotlights on it and point here, like, we're doing this. Just put it in your movie, because, like, it's a normal thing, because it should be a normal thing.
Oh, it's so normal. I bought it instantly. I bought the whole thing. Really cool. It also helps that I'm pretty sure Abby Jacobs in real life is bi. So nice little bit of accuracy right there. But yeah, just, you know, the little touches, like the mom being not hypochondriac, but like just a stickler, the brother being debatably autistic or ADHD or something like that. You know, just little details that you don't see a lot in some movies.
I agree with that. I feel like it was this big thing of memory, like holding on to memories, holding on to the past. I feel like that was a big theme in the movie. I could be wrong. How do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. Holding on to things of the past, like that little moose thing that the dad gives Katie. What was the name of the moose?
Did they give it a name? All I remember was, oh, this is how mooses speak.
Yeah, like
Ooh.
I don't remember, but like that's the thing. It was part of like the dad's old, I guess, house, so to speak, because the dad was going to be an artist. He just couldn't like make a successful living out of it or something. But like that's one of the best ways to connect with your kid. Just give them something to remember them by, like the moose, which is, I guess, metaphorical, but it's also literal as well.
It's like he was passing his memories on to his daughter, like passing a piece of him to his daughter.
Yeah.
And that whole scene made me cry. 'Cause that was also another really good scene. Like, if anyone who's studying animation or any like storytelling wants a really good example of show, don't tell, that's it.
Yes.
There's like a few bits of dialogue, just like, you know, you ready to go. There's like 2 or 3 lines of dialogue in that whole scene, but you know what's going on. Because, you know, the context from mom before, like, oh, they saw the picture. Oh, yeah, dad built this house. Like, oh, it's beautiful and everything. And then the video showing the for sale sign, him just looking at it. Oh, damn it. And then he pulls off the moose. It's like, oh, that's where that's from. Oh, shit, this is making me cry now.
But that's where good acting in general really comes in. That's why I guess I applaud the animators, the riggers who helped in this film.
Yeah, rigging also is like one of the most time-consuming things in computer animation, like not even the actual animation part of it. So like whatever rigs they use now, like amazing, you know?
You just imagine all the little bits and pieces, all the little rig parts like on the face, and all like the stretch and squash things on everything. Just visualizing that in Maya or Blender or whatever program they use, it just gave me
They made it work. They even made a very successful looking, I call Manchi the potato dog, even he's just a pug, because he is a potato dog.
I thought he was bread.
Okay, fine. He's
dog, pig, bread.
Yeah, the dog take bread. That sounds really good right now. I think that dog was actually like even voiced by a famous YouTube dog or something.
I think it was like Pug something, or his name is
Doug
something.
the Pug.
Oh yeah, Doug
Yeah.
the Pug.
Even the dog got character development.
Yeah, Munchie, catch.
It was just like those little things, like when the mom's like doing all the stuff with the kids, and there's just a little bit of like passing as a joke. I'm trying to teach our dog how to see straight, and it comes back at the end. It's like, oh, it's a little cute detail that actually mattered.
Oh man, that's the best part. But yeah, as we said, just the little details really make this movie. I think my friend Luke said it best. It's if a Goofy movie meets like War of the Worlds or something.
That's a good analogy.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Shout out to the Goofy movie Reanimated that's coming out soon.
What? It's getting a reboot?
Well, reanimated collab. You know those reanimated collabs?
Okay, you need to send me that because like
I'll share some links soon. But regardless, so I think we've said what we needed to about the movie, right?
Yeah. Oh, I just want to mention the upgraded robots.
Oh yeah.
Story-wise, I don't know if they could have touched on it more. I don't know how they would do it, but like the parallel between the programmer guy kind of like upgrading and ditching her, and then later on she has all these robots, and then she kind of upgrades and treats all the other robots really badly.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it's a parallel I don't think they touched on. But also the animation of those things, like forming and deforming. Oh my god.
mm-hmm.
I think one of them was voiced by Conan O'Brien too.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he tells that on his show because normally he's in a lot of like animated stuff, like in games and different things. So I wouldn't be surprised
He got his
if he used that as promotion.
He kind of cut his teeth early on as a staff writer on The Simpsons too. So I think, I think that's basically all we have to say about the movie. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do y'all give it?
I give it 8 or a 9.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
I don't think it's like a
10 for
perfect
animation,
10.
but story-wise, probably like 8 or 9.
Yeah, like it's obviously not like a masterpiece in every regard, but like the praise it's been getting, very well deserved, very experimental in terms of like not just its animation, but like again, not like the story-wise conceptually, but in terms of like the execution. That's where it really excels at. I said it before, I think characters are more interesting than just the story itself, and that the characters in the movie delivered so much. And I really hope Sony really continues making cool experimental flicks like this.
Yeah, I feel like Sony has found their style until like the style, to not work anymore. But I don't know. I feel like they found their style, almost like Telltale Games, rest in peace. How they kind of had their own style when it came to games. Like I feel like Sony found their style.
Yeah. It only took them like 10 years or something.
My style changes every week, so.
I don't even have a style. But yeah, regardless, to anyone who's still listening, if you haven't seen Mitchell's versus the Machines yet, check it out on Netflix. It's worth the watch. The whole family will enjoy it. There's more movies coming out this year from Sony too, like Wish Dragon and Vivo. So, stay tuned for that. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff. And honestly, I'm really excited.
Excited to see what Sony does in the future, because if this is one of their stepping stones, really excited to see what else they do.
Me too.
Definitely. But yeah, so I think that should wrap this sort of like nerdgasm movie splooge out. So before we wrap up, Rachel and Lil Keisha, where can people find your stuff?
Go on my Instagram, Lakeisha Creations. That's where I post stuff.
Yeah, I'm also on Instagram, rdp.png. The dot is a period, not spelled out dot.
If only it was .jpeg.
Oh, that's actually a good idea. Hold that thought. It might be changing in the coming weeks.
.jpeg. No, now it's .pdf.
I'm not a file.
I'll turn you into a robot to destroy the forthcoming animation colleges that suck the money out of students.
I'll be animated Robin Hood.
You'll rob from the administrations and give to those still paying off student loans.
We've had Fox Robin Hood, now we'll have robinhood.exe.
We'll have robot hood.
What about a TIFF file?
TIFF file, yeah. Oh god, even harder.
If anything was going to save us, it would be a TIFF file.
I am too big for you.
Oof. just animation colleges in general. Anyway, that should. So yeah, until the next bizarre episode of Sketch It
I
Cast.
think you need a nap.
I do. I need a nap so badly. Good night, everyone. Peace out, and watch Mitchell's on Netflix. If not, then the robots will get you or something. Peace.
See ya.
Have good dreams.
Good night. Bye.
Good night.